Welcome! Today we are going to be learning all about what is low carb. And I hope if you're here with me, you realize that you have stepped into your new low carb lifestyle. Living a low carb life is the foundation of everything that I teach here in terms of nutrition. And you will hear me say, the fix begins with the food. So we start with learning about food first. And I don't want you to be scared off by the whole low carb term. Going low carb is not a big deal. It just simply means that I'm going to teach you how to lower the sugar in your diet. Here in our protected space, you're going to hear me say low carb about 1,000 times a day. But in my everyday life, I don't really have to think about low carb throughout the day. It's just the way that I eat, and the way that I eat is just healthy. You know, one of the worst things that happens to me is when one of my clients sees me in public and calls me to a table of friends and wants me to tell them all about our low carb lifestyle. I can see the eye rolls and side glances before I even get to the table. And that's not even real specific to going low carb, right? I mean, that's anytime you walk into a conversation of strangers and say that you're starting a healthy initiative of any kind for yourself, there will be at least one person in that crowd that will be put off by your efforts. And they'll either joke about it or get kind of snarky, and some people can even get mean. And then there's always some chuckleheads there who add on, and you end up feeling like the idiot for wanting to work on yourself. And almost always, it's these people that get defensive or kind of nasty in the crowd that most need to work on themselves, and they're probably feeling guilty that they're not. And then you'll have people say things about low carb specifically. They'll say things like, oh, I heard that doesn't work, or oh, so you can't eat anything now, or my neighbor's friend's sister tried that and they had a heart attack. These are the types of things you'll hear for basically any healthy initiative. And I know some of you have these well-wishers in your family, and even worse, some of you have them in your home. Sometimes we can be surrounded by people who like to stomp on our every hope and dream. So my advice for you is don't open the door for criticism to come waltzing in. You can start working on yourself every day without anyone needing to know. You know, going low carb is just about choice. It's just about being a little bit choosy with what you eat. So it's really no different than somebody walking down a buffet line and taking a little of this and none of that and a little more of that. And nobody makes a big deal out of what they put and didn't put on their plate, right? If you put a lot of something, somebody might ask, oh, is that good? But that's the end of it, right? Unless you make it into a big deal and you make it into a conversation. We're going to talk about mindset a lot here because going low carb is a lot about changing the way you think about things. So if you start with the mindset of, oh, I can't eat that and now I have to make all this food, you can hear all the negativity that's building in my mind there, right? Instead, I'm going to teach you to focus on choice. So instead of I can't have that, you'll say I don't want that, or I don't choose that for myself today. And you know what? You need to cook and make meals and make choices when you go to restaurants or at the buffet line, no matter what way you choose to eat. So that's not really an excuse. It's easy for me to face all this criticism. Low carb has changed my life, and I've seen it change the lives of thousands of others. So there's a lot of power behind the choices that I make. But as a beginner, you may not have that power. You may not have that conviction yet. And some of you may be surrounded by people who are bent on keeping you powerless. You're going to question what you're doing. We're going to go through sugar detox together. You're going to feel a little unsure at times, and that's okay. We're right here to answer all your questions and to help you through. But I want you to approach the process with positivity. I need you to be positive, because if you're negative and then you run into one of those negative people, it's going to be real easy for you to quit right here at the start. You know, there's a steep learning curve with low carb, and this Jumpstart is all about getting you through it as quickly and as easily as possible. Part of that is the teamwork. Working together with your teammates and your coach will make it easier for you to get to the top and get over that peak. And that really takes just a few days. Outside of your team, it's up to you who you want to share this with. If you have partners in your home that want to do this with you, you're going to be all that much more successful with more support. But I've had plenty of clients change their health and the health of their entire family without even making a peep. And in terms of those strangers that want to beat up on you, don't even mention it. Just go on making your good choices, and several months down the line, when you're looking and feeling great, those people will come to you and say, hey, what are you doing? That's when to tell them about low carb. And even then, you know what I would say? I would say something like, I've been working with a doctor who's teaching me how to eat a little bit better. I'm making some different choices and I feel great. That's a good friendly conversation starter. So that's how to approach low carb. Let's talk about the why. There's a question in your workbook about who recommends a low carb diet for better health. Is it doctors? Is it nutritionists? Is it vegans? Is it the World Health Organization? The answer is all of the above. There is no doctor, no nutritionist, no expert anywhere in the world eating any kind of diet who wouldn't recommend reducing sugar to improve your health. The concept of lowering sugar to improve your health is not a new concept. It's been around for thousands of years. Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, recommended lowering sugar to improve your health. You see stories about this in the Bible. The introduction of a sugary fruit, the apple, is what led to the downfall of man. Make no mistake, folks, sugar is a drug. This is why we go through withdrawal when we don't have it. And that sugar withdrawal throughout our days causes some nasty side effects. From just being short with people, to road rage, to killing others. Yeah, people have killed one another for that last piece of cake. Look it up. Think you're immune to that? Maybe you're not addicted? Wrong. If you're a human, you're definitely addicted to sugar. That's another answer for your workbook. Now let's talk about some of the specific things that sugar does to your body that we're looking to avoid. Sugar causes weight gain. There's no doubt about that. Some of us just look at a donut and gain weight, right? It causes fatigue. Not initially. Actually, we get energized right at the start of eating sugar. Sugar causes the release of endorphins. That gives us immediate happiness and a little bit of energy, followed almost immediately by complete exhaustion and lack of motivation. So yeah, that's why sugar seems to give us the mood swings. Sugar in and out throughout the day is what causes you to feel like you're on a roller coaster of emotions throughout the day. And sugar causes hunger. If you're feeling hungry all day long, it's likely because you have sugar in your diet. You'll hear me say this a lot. Sugar calls to sugar. If at any meal you have more sugar than usual, your next meal is going to come quicker. Why? Because you've ramped up your hunger. If you want to get your hunger quickly under control, you drop the sugar. And sugar is the primary cause of metabolic syndrome. Remember the high blood pressure? Within week 1 of dropping sugar, some of my clients are needing to reduce their blood pressure meds already. And of course you know, or you should know, that eating sugar makes your blood sugar higher. This is particularly problematic for diabetics, but actually it hurts all people to have high blood sugar. A low-carb diet fixes this problem in a matter of days. My diabetics will be reporting normal numbers before the end of week 1. Staying low-carb will help them literally reverse out of and end their disease. We've already talked about the expanding waistline, that's part of metabolic syndrome, and then the changes that we talked about in your cholesterol as well. And these components of metabolic syndrome are the main risk factors for cardiovascular disease, so heart attack and stroke. So by that logic, sugar causes heart attack and stroke, and avoiding it helps prevent these things. Going low carb cleans up your blood vessels. So that means if you've already had a heart attack or stroke, we can prevent another one. The inflammation that sugar causes all sorts of illness and disease. So let's review for your workbook. Sugar causes weight gain, uncontrolled hunger, mood swings, including anxiety and depression, fatigue, inflammation, metabolic syndrome, and all the diseases associated with a poor metabolism, which you know by now are many. So in conclusion, I'll name 5 major reasons that you might want to reduce sugar in your diet. Management of your weight. Going low carb helps balance your hormones and control your hunger. Improve your mental health. Reduce all that mood instability. Improve your energy and motivation. No more fatigue from sugar crashes throughout the day. Reduced inflammation. End that chronic pain. End all that suffering caused by inflammation. And reduced disease. All that inflammation over the long term becomes the risk factors for serious disease. And that means by switching to low carb, you could live a longer, happier, healthier life. So these should give you something to think about while you're waiting on your weight loss, because that won't happen overnight. But a lot of the change of cleaning up your body inside and out will start happening on day 1. We're going to start tracking down that sugar today. That's coming up.